It's a beautiful evening. Welcome to Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Ekpo Temple, and on today's edition of the show, we'll take a look at all the activities that transpired over the weekend, from the Nigeria Premier Football League down to the English Premier League, as well as the other 4 leagues in Europe. The National Data Games is currently ongoing at the Samuel Ogbunje Stadium and other sports facilities across Edo State. We'll bring you up to speed with latest happening from that side. I tell you, if you stay tuned to these conversations, you'll be abreast if you missed out on any key sporting action over at the weekend. We're going to short break now. When we come back, it'll be time to roll you through all of this and many more to come. Please don't go anywhere. Welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, it's Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television Network, and I have joining me this evening Manuel Michael, the Mike Man as I call him here. Mike, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me this evening on the show. I'm glad to be on this side of the divide, and a lot of sporting activity actually went down over the weekend, and a lot to talk about, ranging from Arsenal's title chase and many more exciting stories that we are here to converse this evening. And like I said, a lot to talk about.
Truly a lot to talk about, and of course we'll start from the home scene here. We are Edo State. If you are within the vicinity of Edo State or within the Nigeria Delta, you will know that the second edition of the Nigeria Delta Games commenced over the weekend, and it's day 2 of actions over there, and we can see the medals rolling out already. As I speak with you right now, Edo State is setting the pace, in the medal hall as it stands now. They've garnered some medals already. Based on analysis, they've gotten 31 medals in total, 15 gold, 6 silver, and 10 bronze medals. And Delta, they are second with 28 medals in total, 9 gold, 11 silver, and 8 bronze medals. Bayelsa State is third with 15 medals in total, 8 gold, 2 silver, and 5 bronze medals. And then Rivers State is seated on the 4th position with 13 gold, with 13 medals in total, 2 gold, 6 silver, and 5 bronze medals. We have Ondo State and others, Akwa Ibom, as well as other states coming up to fill in the gap, Cross River, not forgetting states that are also showcasing that Abia states and others. So Mike, you can see the medal table now. Clearly, the host states, they are not doing badly at all. Ghana about 30-something medals so far with 15 gold. That's fantastic, if you ask me, from Edo State.
Definitely. It looks as though the plan here for Edo State is to host and win. And of course, being the host is going to give them a little form of advantage per se, because they are at home. They've gained mastery over some of the facilities out there, because they are more like on a cruise control of the medal top in this particular one. But then we still have more days to go. One thing is certain, the level of activities we've seen thus far is quite impressive. Exception of one or two skirmishes from what I'm seeing on ground already, you know, but then so far so good. It's going well for the host estates.
Well, in the coming days, we get to see some of our guys who are live there. They'll be joining us to give us expert opinion on the activities of the national, the Niger Delta Games. But then, one complaint that was very obvious last time was the issue of medals table. Today, I had to just go to the platform, the mini website, to get happenings. It may not be as good or as prompt as the Olympic, Commonwealth Games and all that, but I was able to get to a site, prepared especially for the for this particular regional tournament, and I was able to get the medals, as it turned out.
Yeah, although some of the medals released are not coming on time, but then it's better that we get accurate figure of those numbers coming in from the right source, rather than trying to, see the medals at table first and then you mutilate the whole process by not giving a reportage. So for me, I think it's not quite good for professionalism and the standard of the Niger Delta game, which actually took place out there in Akwa Ibom State, was that the little changes that I've seen. The first edition that was held in Akwa Ibom of 25 and below, but now is from within the age range of 18 and below, which for me I think is very massive. Then again, another little difference from the first edition is that the first edition it is that so long as you are from within the Niger Delta state, you can actually represent any of these Niger Delta states. But then this year's edition, they say that it is you must hail from a particular state, from River State, and you want to go and represent Akwa Ibom. Though it is within the same Niger Delta circumference or region, but then the idea is that you must, as a matter of most, come from that particular state, which is one of the issues that from the first edition down to this second edition. Beyond that, I think good, not a bad outing.
In the Niger Delta Games, truly, it looks like we're going to see something different, this year, regardless of the hiccups that comes with organizing games of this nature. Away from that, now let's still talk athletics, because former Olympic champion Choma Ajunwa has attributed the growing trends of Nigerian athletes switching allegiance or relocating abroad to poor welfare system and absence of long-term security for athletes. Now, I followed up all the conversation that she had in this interview, and one thing very clear was, if you do, athletes' career is short. So within that prime, 18, 19, 20, 25, 30, between 25, 26, if an athlete is not sure of where he's headed to, Ajunwa is saying this can also be attribute to why some of them are leaving, or could be one of the factors that can be alluded to say they are leaving because they are not sure of their future. Their future security is not guaranteed with the Nigerian side. And you look at it from afar and say, okay, just maybe there's a truth in what she's saying.
Is one name that rings bell to so many Nigerians, especially for athletic and sports followers, because she's one athlete. I've also been on the top stage, of course, drumming the drum for Nigeria, sports development. Of course, you know what she brings to the table during her 8 days. Before she could come out to make such bold statement, it is ostensibly clear that she has worn the shoe before, all right, and she knows where the shoe pinches. As a former athlete, former Olympian, she has been at the top level, at the top echelon. She has experienced all of these, and for her to say this, you need to take her word for what it is, word by word. And for me, I truly, concur with her opinion. First off, you talk about welfare. sometimes the fact that some of our athletes, are switching allegiance to other foreign countries doesn't mean that they are not patriotic. But there are circumstances that, that they find themselves that you want to say, will you want to jeopardize your future at the expense of, being patriotic? First off, you talk about, welfare is not there. Proper remuneration is not there. Now, after serving the nation meritoriously, what do you go home with? Forget about you. Even while you are still alive, nobody honors you. Not until you are dead, bedridden. That is where some persons will know, oh, former Nigerian so-so-so, who achieved so-so-so, without any tangible support. Now, life after your profession is another key, because just like you stated, the life of athlete is not that long. Footballers even have more longevity compared to some of these, distance runner or even short runner, long jump. For a footballer, you kickstart your age your profession at the age of probably 16, 15, because these days we've seen, a whole lot of scientific improvement is helping women a lot. The Yami Yamal of this day you are hearing, he started his professional career at early as 15 years. That is when, Javi Hernandez gave him his first Barca startup. So at 15, probably you can play more than 20, 25 years. Unlike, a track and field, athletes. You have shorter period. Within this short period all right, how much are you going to amass that is going to sustain you during the entire life if you've, finished at a big stage, you've retired and hung your boot? And these things are not assured for you by the Athletic Federation of Nigeria. But you are seeing other foreign countries that is approaching you, telling you these are the welfare package, this is what you stand to get. Even while you are alive, you are being celebrated, honored till your demise. Even after you've long gone, left the field for good, you are still being paid. Your welfare is being catered for. Contrary is the case, what we have here, that even when you get injured, nobody remembers you, then tend to forget about you. So I think some of these things are key, the reasons why, some of the key reasons why some of our athletes are rather switching allegiance to other countries, because you don't have maybe a sure future after your retirement. So these are things that I think, for me, the Athletic Federation need to look into. We'll keep hammering on this every day. But then it looks as though we are not talking enough about it, but we continue to talk about this until the needful is done. Thank God that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, His Excellency, has also prioritized sport development as a veritable tool in building a very viable economy. All right. So sport administrators can also key in that vision of Mr. President. I can tell you that things will change for good where we begin to see Nigerian decent, sportsmen and women wanting to come back home instead of those that were groomed from home seeking for greener pastures. We will see some of Nigerian decent athletes coming back home, to represent the country. So these are some of the things that I think we need to do if we truly want to get it right. If not, the mass exodus of Nigerian athletes, in journeying yonder to represent other countries will continue.
If care is not taken and serious implementation of actions, is not well outlined, we'll get to see mass exodus. But the good thing is that while some are leaving in the opposite direction, some are also coming back to Nigeria from other clients, and we hope that it's not good to be losing. Rather, let's get to see more coming. Okay, I'm sure that the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, they're looking into this. It was Favor Philly, last year. Now, we now get to see Favor Ashiri. It's not good at all for the system. But we'll go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll talk the Nigeria Premier Football League as well as other football stories making round at this time.
Strong lines across the ocean.
Welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, it's Sports Extra here on Atlantic Television Network, and it's time now to talk football matters on the show. We look at the various leagues across, from the Nigeria Premier Football League down to other leagues in Europe, and we saw match actions, across various centers in the league, and I can tell you for sure that match day 26 lived up to expectation in the Nigeria Premier Football League, where on Saturday it was Warri Wolves that played the goalless draw with Baroa FC. Warri Wolves themselves, Mike, if you look at the way Warri Wolves is going about their game this season in the Nigeria Premier Football League, you want to think that they have everything going for them. But the Nigeria Premier Football League have shown that come on, it's not just about how you come into the league; it's about what you make do and the result you're able to accrue, the points you'll be able to amass. If you must go far. And for Warri Wolves, I look at the way they played against Baroa FC. This is a game that ordinarily they should win at home, because when you win at home, you have more strength. But then they just got 1 point. Maybe Baroa FC also held them down, and they were able to get that particular one. But for Warri Wolves, they are seated, call it a comfortable position. 11th position is not bad at all as compared to Baroa FC. But for Baroa FC, I'm sure that with the way they're going through, they're showing that, come on, though we are newcomers, it's a game of newcomers, no doubt. And they did show strength, and it was both sides shared the sport.
Definitely, I think it was more like a match of equal strength, equal ability of these same two teams. Warri Wolves, they are not far away from Barao FC, who are seated 13th on the log, while Warri Wolves sit 11th on the log, just 1 point, because Warri Wolves has about 34 points or thereabouts. Why Barao FC has 34 points, Warri Wolves has 35 points, so just call it 1 point separates them. So it was a game of equal strength, equal opposition. So I think there was no big deal in that they shared the spoil, because none of these teams were ready to relinquish all 3 points for either side, and it was highly tactical, it was highly technical. And the players did their bit. But it's just that Warri Wolves, being at home, naturally should be more like an advantage to you. But the days is gradually going by where in the Nigerian Premier Football League, home team always win at home at all costs, by hook or by crook. But this time around, I think there seems to be a paradigm shift gradually from the conventional where a home team doesn't just, get all 3 points at home.
Okay, and the second game we saw on Saturday was a game between Wiki Tourists and Remo Stars. And Remo Stars fell to the sword of Wiki Tourists. Before that game, Wiki Tourists just have won one game in the last 5 games, as compared to Remo Stars, who are yet to win one. They just drawn only one in the last 5, and not a very good one at all. This is more like modeling them down the relegation. And courtesy of this now, they are down the basement of the Nigeria Premier Football League.
I think it's quite sad, very, very disappointing for the way and manner that Remo Stars are going after winning the league last time. At least if you can't defend the league successfully, at least you finish within the continent or even within top 5. But then take a look at the way they are, drifting massively towards, relegation. It's not something that is quite, encouraging, especially those who are willing to sunk in their money in the Nigerian Premier Football League. There was this joy that Remo Star is a privately owned team, and they'll be fighting for the league title. In the last 3 years, they've been finishing second, first time, second, third time, and they find a way to break the jinx just last year by winning, the league. As a privately owned club, this should be, a club like Remo Star should be the doing of clubs in the Nigerian Premier Football League that would be used as an, examples to say this is a privately owned club and this is how they are faring. Of course, we're so happy when they won the league, to at least help the owner, because you know what it means, to spend every week in prosecuting 38 matches, both home and away. A whole lot of logistics and financial burden comes with it. So how much does the team go home with? The winner of the league goes home with 200 million naira, which is not even, at par with what they spent in the course of the season. You want to take a critical, calculation and look at it. And then again, a club receives a sum of 20 million naira per season to start again with. 20 million naira, it cannot even help you to prosecute 5 games, even 4 games. All right, not to even talk about it. So I think it's quite disappointing for Remo Star. And for Wiki Tourists, they are also battling relegation as well, because they are close to the relegation battle. They are seated 15th on the log. Take a look at the point disparity between the team that is seated 17, 18, 19, and 20. Just 1 or 2 points that separate them. So the fact that Wiki Tourists are seated 15 doesn't mean that they are even safe. And they are also under relegation threat as it is. Because if they lose their next game and the next team win, they will be dropped down the pecking order as it stands. So I think for me, it's a big worry. And I'm so concerned. Why? The way a manner league is organized is structured in a way that clubs, especially those that are owned by private individuals, cannot survive in this time of the Nigerian Premier Football League season. Because
somehow the Nigerian Premier Football League exists within the circumference of the economy, and so everything about the economy also affects the league. Don't you think so?
Beyond the Nigerian Premier Football League working or existing within the circumference of the economy, don't you know that if all things being equal, say ceteris paribus, that the money that would be generated from the Nigerian Premier Football League should serve as a booster to the economy? But rather, it is the other way around, where the Nigerian Premier Football League is even is being sustained by the economy itself, which is not what it ought to be. All right, the league itself should be more like to the economy, because if they have a lot of sponsorship, all right, that is going to attract a whole lot of money into the league, and vice versa. The league, the money will go around. We call it circular flow of income in economics. All right, but now the league solely depends on the economy, and it is certainly going to affect the leagues in general whenever something goes wrong with the Nigerian economy. Unlike the way the La Liga, the English Premier League is structured, you see that the money that comes via what they generated. It's even adding more to boost their economy. But that is not the case with Nigerian Premier Football League. We are rather surviving, you know.
Well, now that we know that, because we already know the impediments, you know, grappling, you know, the league in terms of financial positions of club and ownership investment, okay? But then, for Remo Stars, you think that this is just beyond. I do not think that I do not think that Kunle Soname is not doing enough to, you know, to change his narrative. So why could it be that he has totally removed his hand, which is not possible because it's a project that he owns?
It's a project that he owns, but when the league management are not doing their bit in order to ensure viability.
No, but this has nothing to do with viability. This has nothing to do with the fact that league management needs to play for the players.
It has to
when you look at the statistics and the effort the players have put in place, or the team, you know, it tells you that truly they are deserving of being at the basement of the league.
It has to do with the way and manner.
We have Kun Khalifat FC. We have Kun Khalifat FC. We have,
which are also struggling, a privately owned team.
Baro FC
also struggling, a privately owned team. Ikorodu City, maybe for the time being, you can just exclude them because they are doing pretty well for now.
That's the point now. That's the point we are referring to, saying somehow that the machinery that guides the affairs of this club, you know, may not have been well streamlined to getting to see them, you know, fully in action. Just maybe because when those stars, when they were at their best, we also saw them gloriously won the league, you know. So what is the difference? Why have they fallen? That is even more hysterical because you won the league last season, and then this season, after March 26, you are the basement of the league, where you have new entrants like Wiki Tories, like Baroa FC, like Kun Khalifat, and others, Ikorodu City. Yet, you that just won the league, then it's beyond the league body, it is beyond the investment in the league. It's more like internal issues that is openly affecting them now.
It's about the club itself and about the league, because you cannot extricate the league from what is happening to some of these clubs out there. The Ikorodu City we are using as a point of you know, excellence because of what they are doing right now. How long can they sustain this? Is it not just a one-off thing? Can they be consistent, even more like Remo Star? We saw their consistency in the last 3 years before they are heading to this abysmal end of a relegation battle. First off, Remo Stars, after they won the league, they sold most of their key players. Of course, as a privately owned club, you want to make money. So when some of your best legs are receiving, you know, massive interest from home and abroad, what do you do as a privately owned club that need money to fund a club? You let those players go, and they sold most of their key players, you know, without proper replacement, because I guess they are depending solely on the academy. And of course, you and I know that some of these best players we are talking about, some of them came via that academy. So they rely so much on the academy, not knowing that the strength of those academy boys cannot just, you know, be equated with some of them that have gathered 2-3 years experience playing at the top flight division. So letting some of these key players go without a proper recruitment process, depending on the academy, cannot do the job, and it is the reason why they are struggling. And then again, I continue to say that the way and manner the league is structured makes privately owned club to fail. All right, because the way the league is structured does not attract other privately or rather private individuals. It's not marketable enough. You can't sit here and say that you want to, you know, pump in 100 million into a privately owned club in the Nigerian Premier Football League. Will you? You will not, because you take a look at the structure. What are you going to gain at the end of it? What are the template to market that your, you know, goods, to market that your goods to which you want to invest into that club? The template is not right. And that is why I keep saying that the league body will need to do a lot. We are talking about Benga Elegbele here since he came on board. I'm not disputing the fact that at least we've seen a bit of changes more like what we used to see before, but then it's still a far cry compared to other African countries, the way their league is being organized. Is it not embarrassing that a champion of the Nigerian Premier Football League got knocked out in the preliminary stage of the CAF Champions League? And this is how bad it is.
So the first time, it is
not the first time. And
years.
it is the reflection of the league. It is the reflection of how the league is structured.
No doubt about it. But we're just hoping that something should be done about Remo Star, because I mean, every club feels the heat as a result of the way the league is structured. That's correct. But I'm just thinking that this is not a good one. That the champion for 2025 will not be suffering the way they are at the basement of the league after March the 26th. Okay, let's see how far they will react to this one. Katsina United were able to get a goalless draw against Enugu Rangers. Enugu Rangers themselves are not doing badly at all. 44 points so far in the league. Tells with their ambition this season. Abia Warriors, they are 1-0 better off than Kwara United, and Ikorodu City were held at home by Bayelsa United. 1-1 in that particular one. Ikorodu City, if they at this point they look like Arsenal. If you want to win the league, where you have, Rivers United, 4 games to be played, you are sure that there's no way Rivers United will not be able to win at least 1 game there. If it gets to, if it's bad, if it's so tough for them. So this is the time to start racking points. Especially at home, win all your home games and then go away and drag those points with the away side.
Even Rivers United have more like 4 outstanding games. I'm not even sure of the league as well, because we've seen them, drop points against Bayelsa United. They lost here back home at the Adokia Masimaka Stadium, 2-1. And Enyimba over the weekend also got a very vital point against them. This is the Enyimba side that is also struggling. They are seated about 13th or 14th on the Nigerian Premier Football League log. You expect Rivers United to take all 3 points against Enyimba. So I even have more hope and confidence on Enugu Rangers than even Rivers United to win the league. Reason is very simple. We saw how Enugu Rangers were struggling at some points in the league, especially when their gaffer went on national team duty during the African Cup of Nations. The assistant coach stepped in, but he wasn't good. But then that tactical master stroke wasn't that top notch, and we saw him lose some games, drop some points. At some point, Enugu Rangers were drifting towards even 9th or even 10th place, and there was this fear that they are out of the league hunt or the league title. Well, the gaffer came back talking about Fidelis Ilechukwu, and things began to change for good, and you just saw them surge back to contention. They are sitting second right now, and they are getting the results, both home and away, and I think for me, I even have more hope in Enugu Rangers than even Rivers United, because sometimes when it matters most, Rivers United, they just lose guard, if I may use that word. If not, why drop 2 points at home against a struggling, Enyimba? But for Ikorodu City, I think how long they can stay there to maintain this form is going to tell in the next to have about 11 games to go, all right, which is a very massive point. 11 games is about 30-something points to go, so there's still much to play for. But then I'm not disputing the fact that they are among the title contender, talking about Ikorodu City, because since they dispossessed Kwara United from the top, was it Kwara United or Nasarawa United? Yeah, Kwara United. I think they've been maintaining a lot of consistency since then. They find it very difficult to drop all 3 points. Once they come to words, they will take 1 point. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed and see how it pans out with just 11 games to go.
All right, to the English Premier League, where we saw some action. Over the weekend, it all started very good for those who played on Saturday. Maybe not Aston Villa, because Aston Villa are gradually losing grip of their position. 1-1 it ended against them and Leeds. Brentford were defeated at home by Brighton Hove Albion at the Community, Stadium there. Chelsea were heard by Burnley 1-1. West Ham United with AFC Bournemouth, and we saw Manchester City on Saturday, late game there, got a 2-1 win against Newcastle United. This was it was a cagey one, but you expect Pep to always win at home at this point of the season.
This is where you get to know a coach that truly knows how to win title. When the going gets tough, you just find a way to ground out the result, and this is what Pep Joseph Salah Guardiola did when it mattered most. When he looked as though it was a cagey encounter, some feared he was going to drop a point, but then he just managed to squeeze all 3 points. It is a mentality of a champion, and this is why I still believe that they are still in the title race, and Arsenal should be very, very wary.
Arsenal should be very, very wary, and yesterday we saw Crystal Palace defeated Wolverhampton Wanderers. What Arsenal could not do, they did it at the Selhurst Park. Nottingham Forest, a very painful one, lost to Liverpool, 1-1, and then we saw Bournemouth, Sunderland were thrashed at the Stadium of Light by Fulham. 3-1 it ended. What a response there from and his team. And we also saw that game yesterday. Arsenal traveled to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London rivalry there, and they were able to get that particular one. 4-1 it ended in favor of Arsenal. What a display from Victor Eucharis and that man, Berechese, pulling the string again. Berechese has now made it 5 goals against the rivals in the same city.
Yeah, he just knows how to score against some of these London teams out there. No wonder Mikel Arteta had to state shortly after that game that he wasn't a happy man, because he has been sidelined to the bench in some games right now. But then when he was given the nod to start, I think he proved the coach that indeed he wasn't really happy sitting on the bench out there. Good result for Arsenal Football Club. I just hope that they can keep this up because the title race is getting thicker and tougher every second that goes by. The next 4 or 5 games promises to be yet another tight encounter in their journey to see if they can be able to break that 22 years dock of not winning the English Premier League. They will be playing Chelsea, Brighton and Hove Albion, Manchester City. So these are, you don't expect Arsenal to get easy win, and this is why I still have this little fear that Arsenal just maybe they are going to bottle it again this season.
Are you already aligning with Debayo to say that Arsenal will bottle it? I mean, a lot of people will tell you that yes, Arsenal have record of bottling league, but this is just too early. They still have 10 games, yes, 10 games with different shape of activity. With Manchester United, Manchester City we know isn't the same Manchester City we know, this season. They've had their own times of troubles, and you cannot say that City can go all the games with the way they are structured to win all the games from now till the end of the season. So, are you still believing with what Adebayo did mention that Arsenal might just win? Mind you, he made that comment before Arsenal played Tottenham Hotspur yesterday.
For me, I think I would say it's more like a case of prima facie, what we say in court. Evidence without needing a proof. A first instance look at it, you just know the truth. Now, you rightly stated that Arsenal are known for bottling, the league, because they've done that.
But that's between March, April, and May.
It doesn't really matter the months. What matters is that and I said it's a case of prima facie. First instance, it speaks for itself. So now that they are 5 points adrift of the closest rival, talking about Manchester City, mind you that this 5 points gap is that they've played one more game than Manchester City. So invariably, if Manchester City play their next game to be at the same game that Arsenal have played, it will be shortened to just 2 points. And then again, remember the crunch battle where Arsenal will going back to the Etihad Stadium to play Manchester City. So if Manchester City wins at home against Arsenal, it means that Manchester City will be topping Arsenal with 1 point. So you see how the calculation is. Now we are even projecting and jumping some other hurdles that Arsenal need to cross even before Arsenal's game. They have Chelsea to play in the coming weekend before you talk about Brighton and Hove Albion. So these are the issues. I say that it's a case of prima facie, that it is an evidence that needs no other proof for itself that Arsenal has been bottling the league, and this season it might just be the case, because the vestiges I'm seeing, I mean, it is one that one need not to be told that Arsenal, they have that record of bottling. But then I just hope that this time around they can do a lot more, because I'll be pretty disappointed. Not that I'm their fan, I don't support any of the club, but then I mean, Arsenal, their fans have suffered a lot, more like what we say, long suffering in the Holy Scripture. Most of their fans are now they are long suffering, and I just want them to smile. This is why I'm drumming a support for Arsenal to at least.
I don't think that truly that Arsenal should win. So I mean, so that because Mikel Arteta, for our sake, I mean, manager, has did his best. I mean, has done his best so far to see how far he can get his hand on that holy grail. But it seems to be eluding him anytime. The more he tries, the little he achieves. But let's see. The quadruple is on the line, and just maybe we hope that Arsenal can lift the major trophy this season. And then the dynamics have changed in the Serie A, in the La Liga Santander, because Barca, Real Madrid are not living up to expectation as desired. But we saw what played out over the weekend. We saw how far they struggled against Osasuna as compared to what Barca did in their 3-0 win against Levante.
I think the Los Blancos must be licking their wounds right now, for dropping, because they had no business in dropping the points.
Like seriously?
They first, after Barca lost their last game, and then they won.
And Barca are not known to be losers.
Exactly. So
it's rare to get to see Barca lose games, like they did. And so that would have been an opportunity to capitalize.
Great opportunity to capitalize. And that is why I also think that Arsenal did themselves a disservice, in the game against Wolves.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
By losing that game.
Dropping a point against Wolves. This is more like what Madrid did. After you go top, you allow Barca to come back and topple you again. At this point, it's going to be very difficult. I know in football, anything at all can happen, but then you just need to hold on to that advantage. Don't let it slip off your hands. Because time will come where we will certainly regret and say, oh, had I known, I would have done a lot more better. So I think it's not a good one for Real Madrid.
Not a good one at all, and we'll keep our finger crossed on that particular one. Mike, I'm sure that as the league gets to its end, we're going to see a lot of drama, following all of that across board.
Definitely, lots of drama still expected, both in the Nigerian Premier Football League down to the English Premier League. The battle rages on. In the La Liga, the battle also rages on. I think the only league that you can possibly close your eyes and go to sleep, maybe the Bundesliga, where you say Bayern Munich, certainly they're going to cruise on. Gone, Paris Saint-Germain, Italian Serie A, maybe Inter Milan, but then nothing is assured yet as we speak.
10 points, separating both sides.
Yeah, but nothing is assured yet, because Inter on their own, sometimes they just blow hot and cold.
Blow hot and cold. Many thanks, Mike, for being part of the conversation. This is why we call it the wrap on today's edition of Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. Paul Temple is my name. We'll be back again tomorrow for the Tuesday version of the show. We'll take a look at the Champions League playoffs and the decider, and those two are qualified to the round of 16. Don't change it. I'll be back tomorrow morning for Sports Talk at 7 to 8 a.m. Stay locked and enjoy the best from Atlantic Television Network.
Media Group presents the 2026 Anniversary Celebration Lecture of Morrison Media Group. Theme: Media's role in shaping social change, addressing inequities, and empowering voices. Chairman Alex Ndudi Enebele, FSM, President, Institute of Strategic Management of Nigeria, Chartered. Keynote speaker, Professor Armstrong Idachaba, Professor of Media and Broadcasting Communication. Panelist, Professor Chris Ochonogo, Immediate Past Head of Department, Journalism and Media Studies, University of Port Harcourt. Dr. Ijoma Tobosia, Secretary, NUJ, River State. Dr. Sarah Joe, University Orator and Associate Dean, Faculty of Communication and Media, River State University, Port Harcourt. Dr. Ibiere Kogi, Ignatius Aju University of Education, Rumolomini, Port Harcourt. Chief Host, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, Esquire, Chairman, Morrison Group. Date, Tuesday, 10th March 2026. Venue, Gate Place Hotel, Kilometer 5, East West Road, adjacent Obirikwere Flyover, Rumosi, Port Harcourt. Time, 10 a.m. For more information, please call Kainde Paul Obofade, 081-063-41777 or Samuel Ajinwo at 090-454-007.